The conversation ended hours ago. Nobody said anything unkind. It went fine, mostly, by any reasonable measure. But you're in the shower, or trying to fall asleep, and suddenly you're back in it, replaying the exact sentence you said, wondering if it landed wrong, rewriting a better response you didn't think of in time. You run it again, from the start. You imagine the version where you said the smarter thing, the calmer thing, the thing that wouldn't make anyone raise an eyebrow. None of it changes what already happened. You know that logically, with total clarity, and you keep running it anyway. Like some part of you is convinced this time the replay will end differently. That's not overthinking in some vague catch-all sense, and it's not a sign that something actually went wrong. It's a specific, well-studied pattern, and it has a name. Naming it. Researchers call it rumination, or, in social context specifically, post-event processing, a term used by psychologists Clark and Wells in their research on social anxiety in the 1990s. They found that after social interactions, many people involuntarily replay the event afterward, scanning it for anything that might have gone wrong or been judged negatively, often focusing far more on perceived missteps than anything that actually happened in the room. Psychologist Susan Nolen-Hoeksema, who spent decades studying this pattern through what's known as response styles theory, found that people who ruminate more heavily after events don't process them more accurately as a result. They just process them for longer, circling the same handful of details without ever reaching a new conclusion. That tells us the replay happens, and that it doesn't resolve anything on its own. Nolen-Hoeksema's broader work also found that people prone to this pattern were more likely to develop prolonged, low mood after stressful events, not because the events themselves were worse, but because the replaying extended how long the distress lasted. Still, none of that explains why the brain would bother running an instant replay of something that's already over and literally cannot be changed. The historical layer. For most of human history, your standing within your group wasn't something you could check with a message or a like. It was something you had to infer, constantly, from tone, from body language, from what wasn't said as much as what was. And your group was your survival, full stop. Losing standing with the people around you, being quietly excluded or judged unfit to trust with something important, carried real, physical consequences in a world with no other support system to fall back on if things went sideways. Replaying a social interaction, checking it for damage, wasn't wasted effort back then. It was one of the only tools available for protecting a relationship you genuinely could not afford to lose, in a world with no way to simply ask directly if everything was okay. The modern amplification. Now, social standing comes with a running scoreboard, whether you asked for it or not. Read receipts that show a message was seen and not answered for hours. Comment sections. Group chats where every reaction, every like, every notably absent reply is visible in real time to everyone involved. It's never been easier to reread your own words exactly as you sent them, at 2 a.m, with total clarity and zero new information to actually work with. That old, adaptive habit of checking your standing now has an infinite archive to check against, and it rarely gets the clear resolution it's actually searching for because there's always one more message thread to reread. Notice how it actually shows up. It's rereading a text you already sent, looking for a tone you might have gotten wrong the first 10 times you read it. It's replaying a joke that didn't land the way you meant it to, imagining the room's reaction over and over. It's rehearsing what you should have said hours after the moment it would have actually mattered. It's the small jolt of dread when you remember a conversation from days ago for no clear reason in the middle of doing something else entirely. It's checking whether someone's read a message and left you unread and building an entire theory about what that silence means. It's the mental courtroom that convenes at 2 a.m., replaying the same 3 seconds of a conversation as both prosecution and defense. The reframe. Here's what the research actually shows, and it's worth sitting with. Rumination doesn't improve your read of what happened, and it doesn't make the next interaction go any better. Nolen-Hoeksema's studies found that people who ruminate more report worse mood over time, with no measurable improvement in social outcomes to show for it. The loop isn't fixing anything. It's stuck in analysis mode with nowhere left to go, because the event it's analyzing already ended, and no amount of replaying changes a single word of it. Close. So next time a conversation from hours ago shows back up uninvited, try naming what's actually happening. That's not you catching a real-world problem worth solving. That's an old social alarm still checking your standing in a group that isn't even watching anymore. The conversation is over. It doesn't need a verdict from you tonight, and it was never going to get one from replaying it for the 11th time. The people in that memory have already moved on. The only one still in the room is you.